Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, today's first story comes from a deleted user. And before we do get into the story, there is talk of fertility within the story, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. And it's titled, Am I the Arsehole Here for Divorcing My Wife Because She Lied About Her Fertility? I, male 38, have been with my wife, Natalie, female 37, for 8 years, married for 4 years. Natalie has a daughter from a previous relationship, Kaya, female 12. Kaya's dad left when she was a newborn. We have no idea where he is. I love her as if she were mine. She calls me dad and has a great relationship with me. I told Natalie from the very beginning that I would like to have biological children, and she said she is open to having more kids. After we got married, we bought a nice place and started trying for a baby. After a year, we did some testing and all came back normal. My wife said IVF would be too costly and hard on her body. I was secretly devastated, but I decided to come to terms with the fact that I'll never have any biological kids. This was until a few days ago when I found out from Natalie's sister that Natalie lied to me. She and her sister got into a fight in our house and her sister screamed, "At least I don't take pills behind my husband's back and claim I'm infertile. Does he know you had an abortion?" I was floored. My wife kicked her sister out and started crying, saying she really didn't want another kid and didn't want to lose me. I can't believe she lied to me instead of just talking to me. I just left. I've been staying at my parents' house since then. Natalie begs me to come back and she says we can try for a baby. Kaya even messaged me to come back. My parents think I should just move on and give her another chance. She made a mistake and she apologized. Am I the arsehole here for wanting a divorce for this lie? OP adds, I live in Canada, I'm pro-choice, I do believe women have the right to control their bodies. Don't lecture me about her rights, but this is a different case. She lied to me. I could now have a baby in my arms. I have no idea she is against having more babies until a few days ago. Abortion happened 1.5 years after our wedding. Yes, my baby. Yes, she saw me devastated and upset when she claimed we can't have a baby. I can't believe she lied to my face. Now this is just, all about the actual lying for me. You can choose to want more kids, you can choose to not have any more children, that's totally up to you. These are your choices, but to lie about your fertility to your partner like that is devastating. I feel like I say it all the time now, but once the trust is gone in the relationship, how do you rebuild from that? I'm sure there are some people that can, but I always struggle to move past that, and especially something as huge as this. Not discussing it, just straight out lying. But in the comments, Impact says, not the arsehole. There is nothing wrong with not wanting to have kids. There is nothing wrong with not wanting to have more kids. There is nothing wrong with changing your mind about wanting or not wanting kids. This is not about any of that. This is about the fact that your partner chose over and over again to lie to you, to allow you to dream about a future she knew you won't have with her. She lied, betrayed, and misled you for years, even if she did a 180 and honestly wanted kids now. Is this really someone you'd want to stay with, to co-parent with, to be the mother of your child? And that comment said it better than I could in that situation. Like, how do you move on from something like that? It's just a massive betrayal. Leon says that's not a mistake, that's an 8-year lie. Every single day that prevented you from having a child. The great news is that you can have one with someone else. Not Your Stranger says not the arsehole. That is not a small lie. I generally support women's rights to choose, but lying is not a right. She aborted your wanted child without discussing it with you. That's a pretty high level of betrayal. She told her sister, but not you. How many people knew? How many people kept the truth from you and for how long? I'm sorry, OP. And a final comment from Challenge Houdini, who says it's the fact that she now wants you to come home to have a baby with her that disgusts me. So not only has she lied and deceived you for 8 long years about being infertile, taking birth control pills and aborting your baby which you desperately wanted without ever letting you know. Now all of a sudden she is truthful and honest and wants to consider your feelings. She is deceitful as they come. She only wanted you to father her daughter from her ex. She never truly cared about you in the relationship. She's scared you won't be around to be a father to her daughter anymore, hence why she's giving you a baby. I would never ever trust her again. Not the arsehole. OP updates the post sometime later and says, "Thank you for all your kind comments and private messages. I did receive a few unkind ones accusing me of trying to control her body or making her feel unsafe, which is why she secretly went through with it. Natalie came over to my parents' house last night after dinner. She dropped off Kaya at her friend's because she said she needed to talk to me. I'm glad I gave her the chance because now I have no doubt she's a pathological liar. She said after her first pregnancy, she had to work so hard to be in shape and she swore she would never do that again. I said, then you lied to me from day one. She said she thought she would change her mind, but she didn't. Then she saw me come to terms with not having a baby, so she decided not to tell me. I said, so you lied more. You got rid of my baby because you wanted to stay fit. You didn't even discuss anything with me. How could you do that to me? I could be holding my baby right now and you stole that from me. She said she is sorry, but the good news is she still can. I said, you are still lying. You still don't want a baby and you're only saying it so I stay. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I can't trust you ever. She started crying, saying, Kaya, it's so sad you left us because I can't give you a baby. I lost it. You lied to her too. Is this why she thinks I left? I told her it's over and to get out of my parents' house. She cried and cried. I'll meet with my lawyer this week to start the separation process. I'll send a text to Kaya and explain that I didn't abandon her and will do anything to be in her life. I never legally adopted her, sadly. I can't believe I blindly trusted her all these years. As for Kaya's dad, I have no idea who he is. She refuses to talk about it. We have another update on this in a second, but the top comments on that one said, the lack of an adoption might not matter. When my stepfather and mother divorced, he was able to get visitation rights, but not custody or decision-making power, as the courts thought it was best for the child, me. If this is a priority for you, make sure your lawyer knows it. Opie says, I'll discuss this with my lawyers this week. Salt Concept says, in quotes, she said after her first pregnancy she had to work so hard to be in shape and she swore she would never do that again. And then says that was her excuse for lying to you for 8 years and aborting your child behind your back. Yikes. Boring Cycle says, my eyes about popped out of my head when I read that. Poor OP. It isn't even about having a kid, it's about the fact that she lied for 8 years so he could be a daddy to Kaya. Poor girl. I wonder if he can get parenting time because he's been the only dad she's known for 8 years. The OP comes in with their next update that says, I'm sorry for multiple posts, but you guys have been so helpful. Definitely more than my family and friends in real life. I took your advice and met with my sister-in-law over lunch. She was very reluctant to give me any info, but here is what she said. Natalie is in no contact with her parents since before Kaya was born. She didn't lie about this part. I asked if she knows who Kaya's dad is because Natalie gets upset every time I asked and refuses to talk about him. She was surprised and said, you're kidding, right? You can't be this naive. It's obviously Ryan, her boss, the guy who owns the yoga place. I asked about their relationship. She kept saying Natalie really loves you. I begged her to tell me everything. She said she thinks, not sure, the reason Natalie had an abortion was because she wasn't sure if the baby was mine or Ryan's. Either way, she didn't want another baby. I was floored. She was cheating on me. The same time we were trying for a baby. With the same guy who already abandoned her once. What's going on here? Why? I was stupid enough to start a college fund for a kid, yet she cheated on me at least once with this guy. I'm gonna lose my house and half of everything. She said, listen, you're a good guy, just move on. No need to dig more, you're making yourself crazy. I asked if Kaya knows who her dad is. She said absolutely not because Ryan has zero desire to be in her life. I want to tell everything to Kaya before leaving, but my parents think this is crossing the line because I'm not her dad or mum and it's none of my business. My friends think I want to tell her to hurt Natalie, but it's the opposite. I know how awful it is to be lied to and Kaya deserves the truth. My parents think I act like a crazy person and I should just meet with a lawyer. What an absolutely devastating situation. And after that first update, I was certainly questioning why wouldn't she talk about Kaya's dad? Why wouldn't she even mention him or discuss it? That was a red flag in itself for me. But in this second update, this is saying there's no need to dig any further. I mean, how much worse can this get? But Ranchi says, crazy how many things people wrote ended up on point. And then quotes no need to dig more, and then says this also sounds bad, like there is more to dig out. Just meet the lawyer and get to the gym. The Real Glimmer says leave the kid out of your fight with her mum. If she wants to know about her dad, she can ask, and if she doesn't, you do not have the right to violate her wishes here. Sorry you're hurt. Your ex is a B. Stop using the kid. You're involving her too much as is. Stop texting her about her mum. Stop telling her what you and your ex talk about. You can try to be there, but opening her eyes to the person her mum was to you isn't fair and doesn't accomplish anything. Handle your business with the adult like an adult. Kiki says, so wait, she still works with her baby daddy who refuses to be a dad and they're still hooking up. What an absolute mess. And, all I can say from OP's point of view is best to be out of that situation. In terms of Kaya, that's incredibly difficult, isn't it? And I'm not sure what the legalities are behind that, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit that says, am I the arsehole for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? I'm still so shook with everything, so sorry for my rambling. My husband, Jake, and I have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning, he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, 18 female. Well, my husband would often talk about her and tell how he'd seen her grown up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. I remember when we were dating, she would ask to come along on our dates a lot. I never really said anything as I liked spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me. When we announced our engagement, she asked my husband to better not forget her after being a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married and I even made her my bridesmaid. Soon we moved to a different state and kind of lost contact. Now Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time and Cindy came along as well. Now the moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband has gotten, and she was glad he didn't look like those boring married men. Then throughout their stay, Cindy would just ignore my presence and would be way too close with Jake. I told Jake that it was looking a bit inappropriate and to ask Cindy to tone it down. But he said that Cindy is just a bit childish and is that way with everybody. Well, at their last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. During the dinner, I was with Jake when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while." And before I could say something, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him for playing games. I ignored it since it was their last day, but then throughout the dinner, she was getting way too close with Jake and would drag him away whenever I would be around while giggling at me. When everybody sat for dinner, I sat beside Jake and Cindy came last. She then said, "Oh, there is no seat," and then just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised and Jake said laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid. You're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up and sat on another seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect and with the fact that Jake was so cool with it. But I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself, took my car and went out. About 1 hour later, Jake called me asking where I was. I told him I'm going to my friend's house and I will come after Cindy has left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was so angry at the time that if I had stayed there any longer, I would have probably started fighting or crying. I came the next day and Cindy and her family had left. Jake was very pissed and said I took things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said I was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was like his sister. I told him that I was not doubting his intentions, but I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's behavior was, and he was enabling her by not saying anything. He started saying that I sound ridiculous and couldn't even take a joke, referring to the sitting on the lap incident. I said regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying that she was sorry about making me so insecure in myself, and that she would make sure to make me feel better. But I should not have left, as it was pretty childish and kind of spoilt the mood. It felt so backhanded. I didn't reply anything to her. I just told my husband he needs to maintain a distance with Cindy. He asked if I was giving him an ultimatum. I said if he will go as far as disregard and disrespect my feelings for Cindy. This really rubbed my husband the wrong way, and he said I have such disgusting thoughts in my mind and is giving him an ultimatum anyways. Then he might as well leave, because he cannot live with such an insecure person who has such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and left to his mother's place. I've tried apologizing numerous times, telling how sorry I am for everything, but he is ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me and called me a bunch of names to think like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and a disgusting person like me deserves to be alone. I could not stop crying after that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there a way to even come back? Was I so wrong to deserve this? I don't know anymore. Edit. People who are asking our ages. We're 25 years old, just months apart. And there was an update shortly after this one that said thank you for all responding and people who gave me good advices and personal messages. I couldn't read all the comments, but now I know my feelings are valid and boundaries were crossed by Cindy. Now during the dinner there was Cindy, her brother Sean and his girlfriend, and their cousin Derek, also a good friend of my husband, with his boyfriend. So I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was sympathetic and said that after I left, at first they thought I would come back after some time. However, things were really awkward. But when I didn't come, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that she was so disrespectful for doing that. Derek and his boyfriend also said the same thing. For this, Cindy started crying, saying he didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke, that she didn't know it would get so out of hand. She then left the room crying. Jake didn't know what to say, and everybody left early the next day. Derek also told that Cindy has always had issues with boundaries, and when he introduced his boyfriend to everybody, Cindy would get too close and would joke that she was just checking if he was really gay. They were really uncomfortable with it as well, so Derek confronted her, to which Cindy rolled her eyes and said they can't take a joke, and eventually stopped. This all sounds so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me saying she was sorry for what happened. I told him how Sean's message was inappropriate, but she had no idea about the text. So I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean not to harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now, my mother-in-law called and asked what's going on, as Jake didn't tell her and only said we had an argument. I was a bit hesitant to tell, but eventually told everything. She was furious at my husband. She said they will be coming to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive and really nervous. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but we will see. As for people saying my husband is some pedo or they're having an affair, I know this is the furthest from the truth. I never questioned his intentions, but what hurt me was the lack of respect from Cindy towards me. And if I was in OP's position in this situation, I would feel the same way. Husband clearly didn't tell his mum what was going on because he knew he fucked up here, but still doubling down with it. And then a couple of the comments before the updates. Top bit says, not the arsehole, your only mistake was apologizing to your husband as if his accusations were fair. Blue Wolves at Night says, agree, she had nothing to apologize for. Now her apologies justify their actions as making it seem like they did nothing wrong. But she did, since she is apologizing. I would go as far as taking back the apology. 777 says, not the arsehole, your husband should care about making you uncomfortable. He pointed out it was inappropriate. He blew it off, up until the point that she sat on his lap, and even he has to say something. Not because he was upset, but because everyone was looking. He is disregarding his own encouragement of the behavior and gaslighting you to try and make it a you problem. He's a married man who is letting a young woman sit in his lap and intentionally disrespect his wife. You don't have a problem with Cindy, you have a problem with your husband. This level of disrespect to one spouse is unacceptable. The Dayman says, yeah, as someone 5 years into marriage, there are only two people I really give a shit about, myself and my wife. There is no situation anymore that I care about making some friends / co-workers etc. feel awkward or uncomfortable instead of my wife. These posts always seem crazy when someone blows up at their spouse over You made my friend's sibling feel weird. Like, how could you possibly care about that over the feelings of the person you spend 99% of your life with? Then OP comes in with her update and says, for people who are still asking about the update in private messages. So my mother-in-law came with my husband and, well, the talk happened. There are a lot of things, but I will try to summarize. Basically, Jake apologized to me first and tried to explain his point of view. He said that he was angry because A, I left without saying anything for the whole night, and he was literally trying to just diffuse the situation and tried to laugh it off because it was so awkward he didn't know what else to do. But instead of communicating, I just left him in that weird situation. He was meeting with his friends after such a long time and just wanted the dinner to be peaceful, and Cindy was going back anyways, and we would most likely never meet her again. B. He acknowledged Cindy was indeed overstepping boundaries, but he didn't know how to bring it up, since he has literally seen her growing up, and she is like a little sister to him. Also, she acts like that with everyone. He thought that it was just for a few days and he wanted no drama during their stay, so he would just brush it off. He did acknowledge he was wrong about not saying anything. He was already really worried and sad because how I just felt with no explanations. Even after I came, not once I asked how he felt. He was also very overwhelmed with everything and felt I was accusing him for not doing anything when he literally pushed her off as politely as possible when she tried to sit. He felt I was attacking his character and even gave the ultimatum, which made him so sad as he felt as if I thought less of him. It wasn't about Cindy, but about how easy it was for me to question his sincerity. He said that after dinner, he was going to go extremely low contact with her anyways. B. He apologized for not speaking up about the disrespect Cindy was showing towards me and for also leaving like that. And after Jake said everything, mother-in-law explained Jake about the situation from her perspective. She scolded him a lot as well. In short, she told him that as a husband it was his responsibility to make me feel like I am his priority, and that he disappointed me the moment I had to come to him to ask for establishing boundaries. As a husband, it was his duty that I never would have to come to him about this in the first place. She also asked him how he would have felt had it been a guy on my lap, and he had no answer to it. She told him how what I did was an eruption of suppressed feelings, and as a husband, it was his duty to go after me and never let me leave in the first place. There were a lot of things said by her, and Jake seemed to realize and sincerely apologize for his actions. She told him if he ever pulled such a stunt ever again, then not to expect her to take him in. Later, she took me for a walk. It was just the two of us, and there she explained some things to me as well. She said that she is sorry for everything, but told that even at her house, Jake was distraught. He didn't tell her because most likely he knew he was wrong too, but was overwhelmed about everything as well. She said in no way is she excusing her son's behavior, but would hope that I would forgive him. She also said that in no circumstances I need to leave my house, as it was my house and my family. She said I shouldn't be afraid in speaking my mind if anything makes me uncomfortable, and to talk to her if Jake does something stupid again, and she will set him straight. She hoped we work it out, since she has seen our love for each other, and it would be sad to see us split up due to some disrespectful brat. Her words. She said she cannot have a say in our issues, but suggested that we get counseling to understand each other better. She even bought ice cream for me. I know it's a bit childish, but she said sweet things work as a charm when people are upset, and well, she was right. Well, it was awkward at night. Jake came to our room and we didn't know what to say. After a while, we talked and both apologized to each other. However, I did tell her that I was angry at him to tell everything to Sean and was deeply hurt by the text he sent me. He said he didn't know what I was talking about, and I showed him the text. He said he didn't tell Sean about our fight and only told him that he was at Mum's place. He called Sean, and well, it turns out Sean told Cindy how she went too far at the party. Then Cindy made a huge sob story about how I was passive aggressive with her the whole time. I would always try to question her character and act insecure and jealous. She even went on to say that I was always like that with her, even when she was a kid, and that I never liked her and always tried to manipulate people into thinking I was an angel while she was a slur. Well, that made him angry to think how I've been treating Cindy, and he sent those texts. Jake and I was baffled by such accusations, and he tried to explain how it wasn't true. Then Jake just let it be and decided to go no contact with Cindy and extremely low contact with Sean. Jake apologized again, and we just cuddled and slept. Well, Cindy is out of our lives for good now, and we've decided to go to counseling for better communication in future. Let's see how everything goes in the future, but yeah, we're not getting divorced. I know a lot of people wanted me to show Jake this post, but he was so sad and got scolded a lot already, so I decided not to show him for now. Maybe in the future. Sorry for all this rambling. Have a good day, people. Edit. I read people saying we should be no contact with Sean too, and I felt that it would be best to let that friendship go as well. So I talked to my husband about it and he agreed. So he sent a text to Sean stating that he could not be friends with him and then blocked him as well. To clarify, I've somewhat forgiven Jake for his actions, but I told him he needs to rebuild the trust I had. So I know I can rely on him in situations like that. He agreed and will get couples counseling as well. Thank you for all your advice. It all made me feel less lonely in all of this. Now, part of me wants to praise the mother-in-law in this situation because she sounds like someone to have in your corner, right? But mother-in-law shouldn't have had to be involved in the first place. It just sort of gave me an image, and I know it's probably not the way it happened, but like mother-in-law sort of like grabbing him, this 25-year-old by his ear and dragging him round to his house and then sitting down and telling him to apologize like some naughty 5-year-old. I mean, why did it take mother-in-law to come round with him to do this in the first place? He should have done this. Or he should have at least been round there discussing the situation like an adult with OP. So that kind of stuff rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm not sure what the future looks like for them, but all I can do is wish them all the best for trying in their relationship. I'm sure there was a lot of comments calling out, the disrespect is too much, etc., etc. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I will see you cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Take care and much love.